Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Tenet. This movie is directed by Christopher Nolan, who previously directed Memento, The Dark Knight trilogy, and Inception. This movie stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh. In a nutshell, Tenet is about an operative trying to prevent an arms dealer from bringing about the end of the world. In order to do this, he must use a new time manipulation technique called inversion. So right off the bat, don't let the trailers to Tenet fool you. Yes, the gimmick of inversion, or going backwards and forwards simultaneously, is used in the movie. It's introduced in the first act, and it's used heavily at the end of the second act and into the third act, but it's not a gimmick throughout the entire movie. It's not like curving a bullet in Wanted, where they use it throughout the movie. This film is instead more of a spy movie. You have John David Washington as a secret agent, talking and finding out information from one person to the next, trying to figure out how to get close to and eventually stop the bad guy. So the idea of inversion, or moving backwards and forwards, or manipulating time, it's like the movie Looper meets Inception. Yes, get ready. Because you have things involving the future, but then you have this idea like in Inception, where either characters are going to explain it, and you're going to just be like, but wait, how did the mechanics and the math and the science, how does the... And it's going to confuse the hell out of you. Or it's one of those things you just, okay, all right, it's an action that looks cool, that makes sense to the characters, and it's going to be an enjoyable movie. You either go with it, or you get confused trying to break it apart. But like Back to the Future, Avengers Endgame, and a couple time manipulating movies that I'm forgetting, it handles the time travel aspect and how you perceive time and use time differently, which is unique and refreshing. Now onto the acting. John David Washington, he was fine in the movie. Yes, he's Denzel Washington's son, and you can definitely hear it in his voice, especially when he's trying to charm the socks off people to get what he wants, but he kind of comes off very monotone in some scenes. Like, he's very quick-witted and very clever in some moments, but it just happens so often that you're just like, you don't understand the conversation, because he'll say one thing very sharply, and then someone else will have a quick retort, or a quick comeback, or a quick response, and the scenes are edited in a way to where it's like, he goes to one luxurious place and meets somebody. They have a few one-liners, okay, next location. Okay, he's dressed differently, okay, meets another character, okay, next location. You kind of get lost in all the conversation, because those parts, honestly, are kind of boring. You're waiting until the next action scene. Robert Pattinson as his sidekick in the movie, he's really good. I thought he was going to be kind of like a Tom Hardy in Inception type role, where he was going to be in it only for a little bit. No, he's really good in this film. Elizabeth Debicki, also, I had my concerns about the role she was going to play, but no, she's really good as well, involved as the wife to the abusive Kenneth Branagh, who is very good in this film. He's a little over the top, but he's menacing, and he's someone you don't want to mess with. And there's a couple cameos from some well-known actors, including in the third act, you have a young actor who plays a military guy who has some pretty funny one-liners. So, the gimmick of inversion, that's why people are going to see this movie. And the movie is about 2.5 hours, so it drags it sometimes. And one big downside of the movie is the character connection. Yes, you're rooting for the main character because he's the person we're following throughout the story, but there's real no connection to any of them. Yes, you're concerned for the wife who's married to the abusive guy, and yes, you like the chemistry between Robert Pattinson and John David Washington. And there's some moments where you kind of feel for the main character caring for this abusive woman, but that's it. You really just see them as people doing things and getting to the action moments. I mean, the main character is really only known as the protagonist. He doesn't even have a name. So the characters aren't very deep, but there's some enjoyable moments, there's some quippy one-liners, and the action's really cool. So because the movie is all flash and not really any substance, but it looks very good because Christopher Nolan is doing his Christopher Nolan thing, where the story, the script, the words, the writing, the action, the directing, all make sense in his mind, and so that's how he's going to play it. We may not be able to perceive it the way he does, but it looks for a really good-looking movie. So because of that, I'm going to give Tenet a B+. Yes, this is like Inception 2.0, so if you don't like the whole gimmick action thing, then this might not be the movie for you. But if you can make up for the slow moments and enjoy the nail-biting white-knuckle action scenes that are very well choreographed, this is going to be the movie you want to see. So until next time, guys, see ya.